the laws, what you said, interference of the government. I believe that in some areas you have urgency. For example, education. Okay, I would love that the community could self-govern itself and create a good education to people, but unfortunately, you don't have. In this area, I think Brazil is a little better than here because you can have public universities that are very good quality for free. Okay? Here is very hard, to find a superior education institution that is as good as the paid ones. So, if you want better men and women, there you go. Now you have to always say, but if you want better men and women, you need to educate them. That's the first, as I always say, if you want a remedy, a panacea that can cure anything, it's education. Mm-hmm. Okay? So you have to make education accessible for everyone. I'm not saying, I'm saying equality of opportunities, not equality of outcome. Okay? You have, everyone has the chance of having a good education. What happens after that is up to each individual. Okay? But education is one of the things. And for example, another thing that I am completely different than the rest, I never heard anyone saying the things I say, but one of the things I say is that I don't believe that in economical system, one size fits all. I don't believe that the same recipe for the United States is the same recipe for Brazil, is the same recipe for Somalia, is the same recipe for Japan. You have different people with different histories. And we were talking the other day, even the average temperature affects production.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They had that study that they said that I think was 13 grades Celsius are the optimal. So you can say that there's no economically advanced country in the tropical areas. Don't you think that's crazy? So they had this study and they proven that you have to have a certain climate. In Brazil, we have that too. You have in the south and southeast, you have the country is more productive. And in the north and northeast, you have higher temperatures and therefore production goes down. So I believe that each country has their own particular tailor-made solution. But for example, when you have, I'll tell you what I'm getting there. Somalia, for example, Africa, these people are starving. So you cannot wait until the society is evolved enough that is going to take care of this. These people are hungry today. They are dying of famine today. So you have to find a solution to that. I'm not saying that you have to feed these people indefinitely, but create opportunities for these people to work, and the government can give them opportunities and give them like chances to have their own forms of making money. And we have with our NGO, we created I don't want to make any kind of marketing of the NGO here, but we created the WE initiative, which is World Evolution, and we are tackling hunger, green wealth, and education. And one of the things is to give these poor people the opportunity of working on something that is environmentally correct, and they can make money out of something, for example, recycling. They can make money out of something that people are throwing away. So that's one of the solutions. I'm not saying you should give handouts to people. I'm against handouts. I think you should help people under the condition that they have to work. They have to work. They have to put their children in school. That's supposed to be how it works. You cannot say no food for these people because they're going to die. And they're going to rebel themselves. They're going to kidnap people that are rich and so on and so forth. And you cannot just give them everything and make them like lazy.
Right. Well, and you were talking about like how there's not one size fits all for government for each country and area, but there's also like, you were mentioning the history, but there's the like in addition to that, there's the culture. There you've got these people that it takes time for transition and change to happen in a society.
Absolutely.
That's why, look, the American Revolution was a much different historical event than the French Revolution. And they were in different places as countries, and the repercussions of the two were significantly different for the two countries. And we, or in America, established a new successful form of government very quickly in comparison to France.
We were talking about that the other day, and in my opinion, the French Revolution was the worst thing that happened to the Western world in the last 500 years, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And because they were fighting for liberty, equality, and fraternity, and you never had a worse police state ever. It was the worst. The worst, the worst, the worst. And when you seek something and you become exactly the opposite of that,
right,
there's something wrong.
Yeah.
Okay? The American Revolution is a different story. But the French Revolution, in my opinion, was the worst.
Well, and they transitioned to, for years and years until, guess what? Until Napoleon came, essentially. Even after that, there were still ripples of the French Revolution, even after Napoleon. But he definitely caused there to be a uniformity in France that had not been there since the Revolution. Yeah, and you look at the, just divide in the people, and you look at throughout history the cycle of regimes, and how typically it goes from a democracy to then an oligarchy, and that oligarchy then is transitions to a revolt and overthrow that like oligarchy and establish, one leader who ends up being, tyrant at some point or monarch, and then segues back to a democracy. They overthrow the tyranny monarchy. I mean, throughout history, we see this cycle of regimes, as they call it.
It's all there. 2,500 years ago, the Republic by Plato. If you want to understand human nature in politics, you just go there and read. It's everything there. We didn't change it a bit, anything. We changed technologically, of course, but in terms of human nature, we are still the same. Is right there. Everything that is happening, and people that say that the United States is a democracy, is not. Is an oligarchy.
Well, and it's interesting.